wire loom, and what we're gonna do today, what we're getting into. So we're making our own sleeved cable. Just kind of clean things up. You really don't have to do all this, but it does look and make for a good clean look. So let's start with different types of wire loom. This is stuff you see in your car. This is called split loom, and this stuff is kind of rigid. It's plastic, and it's split down the middle. This stuff is pretty good, but as you can see, sometimes it gets awkward when you try to bend it. It still works good. I'm not using this stuff today because this isn't the right diameter for these this XLR and IEC cable that I'm trying to make. This stuff is pretty good though. It's easy to work with. Generally, depending on the kind you get, they're resistant to higher temperatures, I think. That's why you usually see it in your car's engine bay. This is usually what I use. It's cheap and it's available, and you can buy a lot of it for little, and it works good with zip ties and electrical tape and all that. And we'll step it up for a nicer look. This one is again, it's also split sleeve, but this is the braided kind. This one does fit these two cables just fine. The issue with this stuff though is as you get this on the cable, they tend to pull back. So if you were to braid this all the way to the end of the connector, as you're working with these cables, unplugging things, let's say you pull on the sleeve instead of the sleeve and the cable, they'll tend to pull back. Not that much of an issue, because typically when you have a situation like this where your IAC connector to your speaker is lower than the XLR or vice versa, you really only want to sleeve up until that split for a cleaner look. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could sleeve all the way. The issue with that though is you have to have sleeving that's big enough to accommodate both cables, and usually that means it will be too big for just one cable. So to kind of fix that, you got another problem. You could use electrical tape or a zip tie, not as clean and polished, and what that would do is keep this from pulling back and retracting. Or you could use heat shrink tubing that has adhesive inside of it, so that when you heat it up, it actually bonds the two together. That's probably your best bet to fix that problem if you wanted to sleeve all the way to the end with the same split loom. Otherwise, you would sleeve till here, and then you'd have to buy a smaller diameter split loom to go from this junction to here and then to there. You'd still have the issue where the stuff would retract a little bit. And the heat shrink tubing, in order to get it on here, it has to go around the end of this, which is obviously much bigger than the cable itself. So you have to buy the right heat shrink tubing that has, for lack of a better term, shrink ratio. So 3:1, 4:1 is usually what you'll see. Meaning if it's this big, if it's an inch, it'll shrink down to like, 3/8 of an inch or something like that. I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's actually what it is. And then, okay, so that's that kind of sleeving. And then there's this kind, and this is expandable sleeving. So what this does is as you pull it together, it expands, and then as you tighten it, it won't move, it won't retract like the other stuff. The downside to this is it's more difficult to get on here. Once it's on there, you can take it off, but it takes more effort to get it off. That's actually what I'm going to use today. And then we're going to sleeve these two cables together up until this point. We're going to leave these just kind of as they are, and I could still use heat shrink on the ends, so we'll kind of check that out and see. But the problem that I have is I have this 1.25 inch heat shrink tubing, which is very big, And it's hard to work with because all I have is a lighter, and it takes a really long time to heat this up to get it to shrink because the stuff is thick. This is the stuff I'm using, Alex Tech expandable sleeving. This is 3/4 inch, expands to about 1 1/8 inches, which is just big enough to get around this end here. And I got two colors. I got blue and red. So blue indicates, in my system, everything that goes on the left side of the setup, and then red indicates everything on the right side. So red starts with R, right starts with R. That's the only reason I did it that way. Don't think too much of it. Basically what you do is as you push this together, you see it expands. And then when you pull it, it contracts, but it can only contract so far. Sorry, keep it in frame. Keep it in, this is going to keep it using rubber. Just to kind of tell you, see like right there, it's still going to be too big just for this cable alone. Now get into the part where it's going to get a little more tricky. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to feed that in there. See? Try to keep this stuff in the bag, otherwise it will unravel. Keep feeding it. Let's see. What I'm going to do. Look at this here, so we gotta go out. Cut this there. Now because I cut that, I don't want to burn that in. I'll do that in a sec. So first of all, let's get him. See, got stuck. That's good. So like I said, this stuff isn't the easiest to work with. We'll get there. So we're trying to push it all the way to so now we got him 50 there. So he's going to be 2 in there. You got it. We need it. Okay. No problem. I have to cut this right there. I got a couple extra feet. So what I'm going to do, we'll work out it, trim this down, and then go down the next. Alright, and we're back. So this is what I did. So we got the split here. So this is the side that actually goes into the sub. So I have a little extra length. It's gonna go to our Hosa cable splitter. So this goes into the sub, this goes into the back, and then this end goes up to the speaker, and this one goes to, you know, your outlet. But anyway, so I just cut a small piece of this shrink tubing, and I'm sure there's a better way to do this. This lighter takes forever, but I'm just going to do it at the split, and I'll just kind of, you can see how this works. It takes some patience because you have to try to do this evenly, so it's constantly moving it and rotating. So let's clean this up. And then alright, so here's what we ended up with. The final look with these cables. Sleeved, ready to go. Still color coded. I think it looks pretty decent. One thing with this, these are pretty rigid. So once these cool off, they're not going to bend like the rest of the cabling, but it's okay. And again, these are staggered. So obviously this XLR comes out sooner, and then the IAC comes out later, or goes further, and the same with these. And that's just to accommodate the connections where they end up. So anyway, I'm gonna go do the red side now. I don't think we need to watch a whole video of me repeating that same process, but yeah, so if you want to do this on your own, you can do it, or you can just buy the pro-made ones. I don't know how much of a difference it really makes, but it's a cool little project. And at least with this, you could customize even further if you wanted to. You know, possibly apply this to other cabling too, or make different lengths if you wanted to. So there you go, guys.